Welcome to the Senior Safety Advice Podcast, your trusted source for expert guidance on aging safely and independently. Whether you're a caregiver, a family member, or a senior looking to stay secure at home and beyond, we've got you covered. From fall prevention and home modifications to financial safety and scam awareness, we provide practical tips to help you or your loved ones live with confidence. Tune in and empower yourself with the knowledge you need to navigate the challenges of aging. Let's make safety simple.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Senior Safety Advice Podcast. I'm Esther Kane, and today we're going to talk about something that many caregivers of loved ones with dementia face, and that is the fear of wandering. Caring for someone with dementia is never easy. As you know, I don't have to tell you that. And worrying about them wandering off can definitely be one of the scariest challenges. You know, it doesn't matter if it's from you're caring for them at home or they're being cared for at a facility. If it's not a locked facility, wandering can definitely happen. I'll tell you a story of someone that we had years ago when I was an occupational therapist. We had this man come into our unit. Now, we were not a locked unit. It was just a regular rehab unit. And this man had been an alcoholic for many, many, many years. He was now in his early 90s, and his family, he kept falling and injuring himself. And his family wanted him, off the alcohol. But the problem was that once he was off the alcohol, all his, he probably had an underlying issue of dementia, but that just exploded then after. Basically, he was a functioning drunk. The alcohol kept him functioning to some extent. But obviously not very well since he was falling a lot. But now without the alcohol, all the damage that had done came to the forefront. So we had this problem with him where every day around 4 o'clock, he would wander away. We caught him the first time out in the parking lot. But after that, then we were, of course, watching him closer and, waiting for him to get into a locked unit. Now, because we weren't sure when they would have room for him. So obviously we had to watch for him. But we asked the family after a while, after a few days, what happened every day at 4 o'clock that what would he do? And they told us that he would go to the local bar, and that is where he would spend the rest of the night. So we, our recreational therapist, our wonderful recreational therapist, decided to create a pseudo bar in the hallway and near the lobby, near the door where he was always going, near his room. So she set up this stand, like a bar, and it had stools. And she would serve, juice and some nuts and popcorn. I don't remember exactly. But every day at 4 o'clock, he would go and he would sit there on the stool and he would have his water and juice and, whatever else it was that he was allowed to drink. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful way to tap into what this person did and to try to minimize it actually completely eliminated him wandering away. So that was certainly something quite interesting. I'll never forget that patient. But still, you obviously don't, everyone has that ability to do that, and wandering is still a major problem for a lot of, especially family caregivers who are caring for their senior loved one at home. So stats show that 6 out of 10 people with Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia will end up wandering at some point. So even if it's not happening with your senior loved one at this point, it may happen. 6 out of 10 is certainly a higher percentage. It's a real concern. It's a common issue. And that's why today I wanted to talk about the Medical Alert Safe Return Program. It's part of the Alzheimer's Association, part of the things that they provide. And it's really a wonderful, wonderful program. It's a true lifeline, actually, offering real solutions and peace of mind to caregivers and safety for the senior loved one with dementia. Now, wandering isn't something deliberate. It's not as if they're, purposely leaving. It's just part of the dementia, of the confusion, the disorientation. It isn't about someone trying to be difficult, so please understand that. I mean, imagine trying to stick to a routine that doesn't exist anymore, or trying to do a task that only lives in your head. That is actually the reality for many individuals living with dementia. And that's why the Safe Return Program is so very important. It acts like a safety net for those moments when things go wrong. Another story that I read, I did not personally experience this, but another story that I read was this facility had a patient who was constantly going outside and, getting ready to go home. I mean, the moment that he was caught in was going home from work, and he would normally take the bus. So they erected a bus stop out in front of the door, so that when he left that door, if he got to leave that door, he would then sit at the bus stop, at the bench, waiting for the bus to come. And he would sit there for hours at a time because, of course, time is not the same for someone with dementia as it is for you and I. They don't realize that they're waiting hours, or that they're sitting for hours, or doing anything for any length of time. So that was a great way for them to capture him before he wandered, further away from the facility. When he would, obviously. It's not that he did it, they caught him most times. But anyway, like I said, unless you're in a locked unit, it's very easy. It can be very easy to leave. So the Medical Alert Safe Return Program is a partnership, actually, between the Medical Alert Foundation and the Alzheimer's Association. It's a 24-hour nationwide emergency response service aimed at helping locate individuals with Alzheimer's or dementia if they wander away. This service is such a comfort for so many family members and facilities as well, especially for caregivers who often feel alone in dealing with these changes. It's very difficult to try to manage someone with dementia on your own. I would certainly encourage you to let your neighbors know, if you're caring for this person at home, let your neighbors know that that this may be happening, or that this is happening. Let your friends know. Obviously, use other tools like GPS trackers on that person. Use, anything that you possibly can, door locks to prevent it from happening, bells on their shoes maybe, if that is something that doesn't agitate them. Anything at all, and I'll link to some articles that I have on that topic to help you with some ideas on how you can keep someone from wandering, which of course is the ultimate goal. But if they do wander, definitely enroll in the Safe Return Program. Okay, so how does it work? So it starts with jewelry, identification jewelry, like a bracelet or a pendant, which is personalized with the person's information. This includes their name, a unique ID number, and a 24/7 emergency hotline number. So if someone finds this person, they can then call that number, and the response center immediately alerts the caregivers and provides the person's location where they are. So when you enroll, you fill out the form and give them the information like medical conditions, emergency contacts, any special care needs, all the details that help not only the response center, but also help the person who found that person, the senior loved one, to ensure a safe return. Another key feature of the Safe Return program is the optional GPS tracking. So depending on the membership plan that you take and what is available in your area, the GPS tracking allows real-time tracking. So often there's a tiny GPS tracker built right into the ID pendant or bracelet, which allows caregivers to view the location through a website or an app. And it's a great tool, great peace of mind that, privacy, of course, is an issue, but safety, I think, in my opinion, trumps privacy. So the Safe Return program also has a community alert system. If someone goes missing, it quickly notifies law enforcement, volunteers, and even businesses in the area. It's a whole network, a village taking care of this person, coming together to look out for that particular person. And of course, there's the 24/7 emergency hotline that's staffed by trained professionals. It's a direct line for support at any time. So if you're interested, and I encourage you to be interested if you're caring for someone with dementia or Alzheimer's, if you're interested in enrolling, you can visit the Alzheimer's Association at alz.org or the Medical Alert Foundation at medalert.org. From there, you'll find the Medical Alert Safe Plus Return section. You can then choose between a basic plan, which includes the essentials like ID and hotline, or the premium plan, which adds features like GPS tracking and maybe even travel protection. Depends on the area, the services that are offered in your particular area. So after filling out the registration and the payment details, you'll receive the ID in the mail. Of course, you can always contact the Alzheimer's Association at 1-800-272-3900 if you want more information about the program. I can certainly tell you that from all the news stories that I've read, that this Safe Return program has reunited thousands of families. And one example is a story that I read about Mr. Peterson. He would wander out at night, which was always so very dangerous, and his wife was terrified. So they enrolled him in the Safe Return, and one night he wandered again. And thankfully, a neighbor noticed his bracelet, called the hotline, and Mr. Peterson was back home within minutes. So his wife called it a miracle, but actually it wasn't really a miracle. It was because she enrolled him in that program. So this is how effective that kind of program can be. Now, Safe Return isn't, of course, the only resource available. There's also another one called Project Lifesaver, which uses radio frequency technology to track individuals. So instead of someone finding an ID, trained teams use receivers to locate the person directly. So this method is especially effective in rural areas or places where searching can be difficult, forested areas, very urban areas. Then there's Dementia Care Central. This is an online platform full of resources for caregivers. And there's a ton of information on there about, there's articles, there's tips, there's forums. So if you're caring for someone with dementia, I encourage you to check out Dementia Care Central. So the more we learn about dementia, we certainly know way more now. Way more? I don't know if that's proper English, but we certainly know a lot more now than we did 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So the more we learn, and the more we learn as caregivers, then the better we can care for our senior loved ones. So obviously, if you've listened to anything about dementia care, you know that establishing a daily routine is important, encouraging physical activity, providing mental stimulation, supervised wandering is a part of all of that, but it can be difficult if you're caring also for children or have your own, work, and it's a lot to handle. That's why you want to use things like locks and alarms, and you can even hide doorways, by blending them into the wall around it. There's things that you can do to help prevent the wandering, but it's not 100%, of course. So you want to take that extra step of using GPS or any of these programs like the Safe Return program to add that extra layer of security in case the person does get out. So if you're worried about a loved one with dementia, you probably are if you're caring for them, I encourage you to take this action. Consider enrolling in the Medical Alert Safe Return program. It's a tangible step that can actually provide safety and real peace of mind. And remember the other resources as well, the Project Lifesaver and the Dementia Care Central, and of course the Alzheimer's Association. So I hope this information was useful. I hope it provides you with, some helpful data that you can use to help you care for yourself and your senior loved one. All right, don't forget to subscribe. Give us your comments. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know what you think, whether you're listening to this on podcast or on YouTube. And I will see you next time. Take care.
That's it for today's episode of the Senior Safety Advice Podcast, helping you and your loved ones stay safe, independent, and informed. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to subscribe and share it with others who could benefit. For more expert tips and resources, visit seniorsafetyadvice.com. And remember, staying safe starts with staying informed. Until next time, take care and stay safe.